Hey everyone, welcome back to John and Jan's Anniversary Adventures. And today's adventure finds us in South Dakota. Now, we were there twice on mission trips at the reservation there. And this was wonderful, the wonderful mission trips. We took two 1 week mission trips there. And before we went to the second trip on the second missionary journey, we had been warned that there was some spiritual warfare going on at the reservation. And what it seemed to be is that there was some kind of demonic attacks on the children and the teenagers there in the reservation. So to prepare for that, we did a lot of prayer, and we did a lot of prayer walking, and we also talked to some people that had been there previously that got to share with us some of the ways that they dealt with those kind of things there on the reservation. Well, so we got all ready and we went, and we were all prepared to deal with whatever we had to at the time. And when we got there, everything seemed to be going pretty smoothly. We had a vacation Bible school there. We did some construction there. And for the first 4 days of our 5 day trip, everything went smoothly. And on the last day of our trip, we were cleaning up after VBS in the evening, and Jan and I and another fella and two other people in another car decided to take all the garbage to the dump. We accumulated a lot of garbage with the VBS that had over 80 children in it. And so when we fed them, so we had a lot of garbage. So we took all the stuff to the garbage. By the time we were coming back, it was dark. And so we got back to the area, to the compound where we were having the vacation Bible school. And when we got out of the pickup truck we were in, we noticed right away that something was wrong because we didn't see anybody, and there was always somebody outside walking around. So we went inside the main building, and we said, "Well, where's everybody at?" And they said, "Well, we don't know. Some people are in the church, we think." So we went over next door into the church building, and we went in there, and sure enough, all the children and a few of the adults were huddled in the front of the church, and they were very upset. Some of them were crying, some of them were visibly shaken, some of them were just I mean, something had happened. And so we went back out, and we noticed that one of our teenagers was standing at the door of the church. And we asked him, now he was about 15 years old. We asked him what was going on. He said, I don't know, but that thing is not getting back in here. So we went back in. We've got the oldest of the children. She was 12 or 13, probably 13 years old at that time. And we asked her, what happened? Why is everybody so upset? And so she said that they were all out on the playground. And all of a sudden, it was just approaching dark. This thing approached them. It was a small, shadow-like character, probably only 3-4 foot tall, not very big. And it approached them. And she knew, being the oldest one out there, she knew that this was not good. And she didn't exactly know what to do, but this thing kept approaching them. And all she knew to do was say the name of Jesus over and over and over again. So she was saying, Jesus, 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 Jesus. And that thing was backing off a little bit, gave them an open window to run into the church building from the playground. So they went in there. The other youth, about a 15-year-old boy that was with our group, was standing guard at the door, and he was saying, I'm not going to let that thing in here. I am not going to let that thing come in here. And so by the time we were there, all this was going on. Jan went over, and she started to try and settle some of the kids down and comfort them and hug on them. And I decided, well, I'm going to go back out and see what's going on outside there. And as I was leaving the door again, the youth at the door, posted at the door, said, it's still here. Well, okay, so out I went. I just went out. When I went out there, I had walked out into the churchyard near the playground where it had been, and I saw it shoot around the side of the church. It went through the yard, through the parking lot, across the field at a high rate of speed, and approached a farm building that was on the other side of the field. As it approached that field, as soon as that farm building, the dogs around there started barking. It went up a ridge to another farmhouse that was just a little bit further away. As it approached that one, all the dogs started barking up there, and then it went over the ridge, and we never saw it again. Now, I don't know why it left. My conjecture is that I was back, Jan was back, some of the other people, the other mature Christians were back, and it did not want to mess with the Jesus in us. That's what I can say. It did not want to mess with the Jesus in us. We're confident. We know that he that is in us is stronger than he that is in the world. We know that Jesus, so we weren't afraid of it. So what do you learn from an experience like that? Well, one thing you can learn is our youth and our children are stronger than you think. And I will never forget that boy posted at that door, not letting that thing in. Now, I don't think he slept that night. Jan was really worried about him. But he had to call his grandfather, and his grandfather was actually the person that we had talked to about these spiritual warfare on the reservations before. We talked to him before we went, and to settle down. And for that girl to know that all she needed to do was just say the name of Jesus over and over again, I think was amazing. But one thing we can learn, and this is so important in this day and age, is that Satan is a coward, and he sends his demons to sneak attack our children. Now, folks, I hope you know this. I hope you're aware of this. I hope you try and prevent this in your homes and in your churches and in your communities, because Satan is after our kids. He is after our grandchildren, grandparents. Now, all you grandparents have been in church for 50 plus years, and you've been studying every Sunday. You get a sermon, and you go to Sunday school, and you go to Bible studies. Well, put it into action, folks. Put that into action. Now, here's another thing that you learn from this is that, our world is in a terrible mess right now. And the problems in our world are being approached right now from a lot of directions. It also needs to be approached from this direction, because the one who is causing most of the mess is Satan himself and these same kind of demon things. The little skirmish that we had out there on the reservation is nothing compared to the stuff that's going on in our world right now. So, if you're inclined to do so, enter into this spiritual combat, because the world needs you right now, especially all you mature Christians, all you war horses, all you ones that have been around for a long time, all you ones that have been sitting in church for 50 years. Now's the time for you to put what you've learned into action. Let's fight together. Old warriors, let's do it together. Bye, you guys.